is a spin-off of the Rocky series and, for all intents and purposes, the 7th film in the Rocky franchise. It's directed by Ryan Coogler, who directed one of my favorite films of 2013, Fruitvale Station. Now, after the big surprise that was Rocky Balboa, we all assumed, like, yeah, that was pretty much the end of the Rocky franchise. But then Ryan Coogler, he approached Sylvester Stallone one day and said, Sylvester Stallone, I think there's more stories to be told, not just about Rocky Balboa, with the other characters within the Rocky franchise. So he told Stallone what he wanted to do, Sylvester Stallone signed on, and now we have our movie. Now, in this movie, we follow Adonis Johnson, otherwise known as Adonis Creed, who is played by Michael B. Jordan, who was in Fruitvale Station, directed by Ryan Coogler. Adonis is the illegitimate love child of Apollo Creed, who is the rival-turned-friend of Rocky Balboa. Now, Adonis has had a hard life, and all he knows is fighting, and then eventually, ironically, wants to pursue a career in boxing, just like his father. So he goes to Philadelphia, tracks down Rocky Balboa, and asks him to train him. Now, what I absolutely loved about this film is that it captures the spirit that the very first Rocky film had. Now, what I mean by that is, while this movie is set in the Rocky universe, it does stand on its own while not riding the coattails of the Rocky name. Now, granted, this film doesn't run away from the fact that it's in the Rocky universe, but it still works as a standalone film. Now, you could tell from the direction of Ryan Coogler the whole time I watched this, and I could tell in Ryan Cooggler, he even said this in an interview, that he loves the Rocky movies, and that these movies mean a whole lot to him, and he wanted to make a movie that's centered in the Rocky universe, but at the same time it honors and respects the original films. And this movie is ultimately like a love letter to the very first Rocky movie. The fact that this movie stands alone on its own while existing in pre-existing material carries on into the story of the film. Because the character of Adonis, he's had a hard life, from living in juvie, to being bounced around from foster home to foster home, to being taken home from Apollo's wife, Marianne, and the determination that Apollo had to become a great boxer. But he doesn't want to ride the coattails of his father. He wants to merge his own legacy. And that's fine, but even the other characters in the film, they try to tell him, Creed is your name, you need to use it, but at the same time, you can still be your own and merge your own legacy. And the fact that your last name is Creed, that's a bonus. And I just love how they illustrated that, because it makes the story feel more real. And it does work, because there are, legacy children out in the world, and they have to somewhat be in the shadows of its predecessor, like their mother, or father, or brother, uncle, or whoever. And they want to make their own place in the world. As for the cast in this movie, first off, Michael B. Jordan, after seeing this movie, we will forgive you for Fantastic Four, but even though that movie wasn't really your fault, but it doesn't change the fact that you were in this movie. But now, after seeing this movie, we will forget that you were in the Fantastic Four reboot. You have earned that. And I loved Michael B. Jordan in this role, and he even looked like Apollo Creed. And everyone in the movie addresses that, kind of look like, you do look like him a lot. I'd say Michael B. Jordan, he has a bright future ahead of him, and I can't wait to see what he does next. I'm going to talk about the standout performance in a minute. Let me talk some more about some of the side characters. Like, we got Tessa Thompson. She plays the love interest of Michael B. Jordan, and you might remember her. She was in Dear White People, that came out last year, but she was great in the film, and I'm curious to see what role she takes on next, and to see what her future's like. But after seeing her in this movie, she was definitely on my mind. But ultimately, the relationship between her and Adonis, they both find a kindred spirit in each other. And the way the two of them, they come together and fall in love with each other, it worked in this film. Phylicia Rashad, she plays Adonis' mother, not his biological mother, but I just remember seeing the other Rocky movies. I don't remember Phylicia Rashad being in the movies, though it is coincidence that Phylicia Rashad does look like the lady that actually played Apollo Creed's wife in the original movies, though. But nonetheless, she was great in the film, like she is in most things. And I like her character in the film, because it's like she doesn't want to go through with him what she went through with her husband, Apollo. Now for the standout performance, Sylvester Stallone. Holy crap. He deserves an Oscar for Best Supporting Actor in this film, because this is the best I've ever seen Rocky, and this is definitely the best I've seen Sylvester Stallone in a movie. Like, I'll say I haven't seen Sylvester Stallone's whole catalog of movies, but from what I've seen from his catalog, I could definitely say that I've seen it all from Sylvester Stallone, but not at all. Apparently not. Just seeing Sylvester Stallone in this movie, I'm gonna say about him how I feel about Adam Sandler. He underestimates how good he is at dramatic acting, and he just needs to ditch some of the shitty action movies he's doing today and just stick to dramatic acting, because he definitely worked in this film. And before he goes, I just want to see him take on more roles in this. And I just love where they took Rocky in this movie, because Rocky he starts to get sick in this film, and Rocky he ultimately has nothing. Like Adrian's gone, all his friends have been gone. He has nothing to live for anymore until Adonis comes around, and then the two of them they just friction for each other, because ultimately they're fighting for each other. In the end, Creed was a great film, easily one of my top favorites of the year. And it's definitely worthy of the Rocky name, and is the best Rocky film that captures the essence of that first original Rocky. I actually wouldn't mind seeing a sequel to Creed, so I can spend more time with the characters and seeing where they go with these characters and what's the future for them. This was a film that when I saw it in theaters, people were cheering, and by the end everyone clapped, and myself included. Like I have not seen a film this year that had me clapping like this. And most of the people I saw this in the theater with, they were all pretty much African American, and I just love seeing a movie with an African American crowd, and just watching them react to the movie and cheering on is just music to my ears. But again, I cannot think of the last movie I saw that made me clap in the theater. And because of that, I can definitely say with confidence that Creed gets an A++. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Be on the lookout for my spoiler review of Creed coming real soon. Probably the next couple of days, just like I did with Mikey J Part 2. Then after that, I'm going to review Return of the Jedi. And then finally, The Force Awakens. And between all of that, I'm going to find time to see The Good Dinosaur, and I'll review that for you. And be on the lookout for my movies I bought this month for the month of November video. That's it for the day. If you like what you see, subscribe to this channel, subscribe to my other channel. The links are in the description below. And be sure to follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram, Movie Pilot, and Periscope. Peace.